Thanks for staying with us. So we're minding our business, Jejeli, when we saw in the papers that 89 men were beaten up by their wives in the last 15 months. And we're wondering, how? You will not believe it was actually the Lagos State Commissioner for Women Affairs and Poverty Alleviation that said it with her own mouth. So we said, okay, let us bring her to the show and let's come and explain, because we didn't want to really talk about it. How is this possible in this Lagos? So join us as we welcome Mrs. Cecelia Dada. Welcome to the show, madam.
Thank you very much.
Good to have you on the show this morning.
Thank you.
So this revelation, I mean, many find it startling, you know, but also real, because the truth is that we know it happens, but people don't talk about it. So as the Commissioner for Women Affairs, obviously so many data comes to you, so much data comes to you. Could you give us an understanding where these figures came about, how it came about, and how do you help these kind of people to find solution?
Thank you very much, Maria. Well, indeed, 89 men came to the ministry to complain about domestic violence. It wasn't all of them that were beaten by their wives.
Okay.
We had about 6 cases of men that were beaten by their wives, but most of the reports were that the men wanted custody of their children. Maybe their wives ran away with the children, and they have, well, they say emotional violence, which is part of domestic violence. So they want us to look for the wives. They want us to invite the wives to bring back their children. So that's what actually happened. But having said that, I must say here, why is it news that 89 men were beaten by their wives? Why is it not news that 664 women were beaten by their husbands?
Now, I wanted to ask you, what encouraged those men to come out and speak to the ministry?
You see, our culture is part of the problems we have. And the stereotypes that men must be macho. Who says a boy cannot cry? Who says men cannot cry? And that's the problem we have. A lot of parents focus on the girl child. A lot of people focus on the women. But men too feel pains. So it is possible for them to also be violated. And I must let you know today that it's time for us to focus on the boy child.
Mostly men would not speak up. How do you become your brother's keeper in a situation where you're able to speak up for him or help him go and get help? What are the signs you should look out for?
Like I said earlier on, men find it difficult to speak out. And when they come to report, it's at the verge of breakup. They come to say, please, take this woman out of my house. This woman, I cannot cope with her anymore. And for them to come out, it must have gotten to a level that they cannot take it anymore. When you see men that go to work and do not always want to go back home, or when you see men that just decide to sit in beer parlors and viewing centers, when you see men that are not comfortable being around their wives, you know that they have issues. Problem. And you see, during the pandemic, during the lockdown, the reports spiked because people were locked up together and they had no choice.
What kind of service does the ministry provide for men in that situation that want custody of their children?
Okay. Usually when they come, we try to find out where the women are with the children. We bring them into the ministry. We try to mediate. But as situations where we see that they need legal intervention, we refer them to the Ministry of Justice.
Okay. How do you solve the issues of emotional abuse, not physical now? Do you work with, do you run like a counseling session? Do you work with therapists? How do you solve that particular issue?
The truth is that when the men come, they just want to get it over with. All they want is to get their children or to dissolve the marriage. So when you tell them to come in for
counseling,
psychosocial counseling, they would hardly respond. But a lot of women are being counseled. Women would rather want to be counseled. They would want to keep their marriages. But when a man comes out to say it is over, it's difficult for you to get them down to counsel them.
All right, let me go on a quick break. When we come back, move on to other segments of women affairs within Lagos State. Stay with us, we'll be right back.